NFL.com.
All right, welcome into the breeze. I am Harrison. That is Haas, and just joining us, we have DP hopping in on the stream as well. And again, this is the breeze on Ticket Weekends. I'm Harrison Haas, DP. If you want to join the show, Sartor Heyman text line 402-464-5685. Streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo Channel 951. Great way to put a face to the voice. And I'll adjust my camera here in a sec here once we get everything situated. But nonetheless, plenty of things to talk about. We had some NFL preseason going on, plenty of wrestling to talk about. I'm just curious to where you guys want to start. Haas, the host, as always, I'll throw it to you, man.
So, I feel like for the preseason, I don't really care that much. The NFL doesn't care that much. It's hard to really get my attention.
I was trying to sneak some Justin Fields hype in there, but that's okay. We can move on. Fields, 3 for 3. A lot of run after catch, but if you look at the stats, it looks better.
Harrison, don't let Haas pee in your Kool-Aid. Like, look, NFL preseason is one of the greatest Americana iconic things that we own and possess. It's the one opportunity to be reborn, rebirth, rechange, reroute, rebrand, and then reconnect. Because all the football fans separate, they scatter, they go into different points of life and living. But then this weekend, we all got back together. We all regathered. We all regained focus, and we all started to pay attention to the things that will carry us through the next 5 months, 6 months. So, contrary to what Haas says, I'm on team NFL preseason all the way because lives will change. Communities will change, cities will change, and then legends will be made. And they all started this weekend. So let Haas sit over there in the comfort of being a 49ers fan and having longevity and all that nonsense. But listen, for the rest of us diehards that really, you know what, it ain't situational or circumstantial. I'm just a football fan. And it doesn't matter at the highest level to watch all the stories unfold. Look, it's a beautiful time in America when NFL preseason and college summer camps take you through the hottest month, that month of August, and then we get to settle in, buckle up, and then be fanatic about this game that we love, that's football. Don't let Haas get you down about your Bears, man. You sit in, you go ahead and rant and rave, Harrison. Don't let him steal. Don't let him put that evil on you. Don't let him put that on you.
Absolutely. And yeah, for all those listening, wondering why I'm high, it's because Justin Fields, he went 3 for 3. I think it was like 156 yards, 2 touchdowns on. It was just incredible offense. You don't see Bears offense take off that fast ever through my lifetime. So it was just great to see. And man, I don't know. I love preseason. I like seeing those quarterbacks, trying to figure out who's going to play. You look at the Patriots. You saw Zappy. You didn't see Mac Jones. Not sure what that's about. There's all these little things kind of come out in the detail. But Haas, did you watch any preseason? Did you check out your 49ers at all?
They're today.
What time are they? Are they playing at 12 o'clock or what time are the 49ers?
They're soon. So Purdy's not playing. If we're going to talk about the Niners, the thing that upsets me with social media, people hate on whoever's not starting or whoever is starting as a 49er fan base. So I tried my best to not be hateful towards Jimmy Garoppolo. I just didn't think he was as productive as a quarterback as Kyle Shanahan wanted. So I wouldn't go and just hate on him. But there's so much hate towards Trey Lance or Brock Purdy. Why? So there's certain people who are like, Brock Purdy's not the guy. It's a shame that you're not playing Trey Lance. Okay. Don't hate on Brock Purdy. You can just say positive things about Trey Lance. So I don't understand fans and how crazy they are just sitting behind the mouse.
That's the history. Remember, you live in Washington, D.C. I'm old enough to remember where the entire city, including Northern Virginia, was covered in bumper stickers that said, "I like Sonny," that were burgundy. And then there were gold ones that said, I like Billy. And they literally did this. Joe Theismann was brought in, and they all said, nobody's going to like this guy. They did this with Doug Williams. Nobody's going to like this guy. No, they did this with, you can go through the history of it, all the replacement quarterbacks, all the next level guys. Mark Rippon, who is this guy? Jay Schrader, who's sitting behind Joe Theismann on the night that he breaks his leg. Jeff Rutledge, who felt like he could lead this team. Doug Williams being disrespected. That's everywhere. It's not a 49er thing, and it's not current. This is the history. Look, Pittsburgh fans will tell you, especially the old school one, they went through it where they had Terry Hanratty out of Notre Dame, and then they drafted Terry Bradshaw. And then out of nowhere came this guy named Jefferson Joe Gilliam, Jefferson Street Joe Gilliam. And Joe Gilliam beat out Hanratty and Bradshaw in both years that they won back-to-back Super Bowls. He just had, listen, half of the football nation loves the backup. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of it all. Competition. This is not supposed to be given. This is not supposed to be ceremonial. This is where competition happens, and then you find the thing in the guy behind the guy. Because every good program, every good organization will tell you, we're only as good as our depth. We're only as good as the last guy that may get to play for us. And that's why people pay attention to the backup quarterback. Nebraska fans will tell you, a year ago, we went through so many conversations about Chubba Purdy, and you just went, whoa, chill out. You got to do. It's okay to love Chubba, but you don't have to say to Chubba, it's Casey Thompson. They're doing it now. The biggest conversation about quarterback in Nebraska is who the backup is. It's not who the starter is.
About Purdy or Harburg, DP.
Look, sports, what we accept fully about sports fans, we're a weird bunch, man. We're a weird bunch. This is why we get along. We're weirdos. We're absolute freaks. And we don't do anything logically. Look, Harrison is a Bears fan. This dude had a choice. He can root for anybody. And he chose the Bears, not the Walter Payton Bears. He chose.
Hey, I'll tell you how I became a Bears fan. I got the ultimate carpet pulled from underneath me. If you guys remember Indianapolis Colts, Chicago Bears, last Super Bowl the Bears were in, it was a nice start. Devin Hester runs one back for a special teams touchdown, I believe on a kickoff return, and then the Colts would win it. But right then and there, I said, you know what? That was a close run. We're knocking on the door. I'm going to sign my life up to be a Bears fan. And haven't been anywhere near close since. So that was a tough one. I signed on a Super Bowl visit, and we'll see. Let's hope Fields is the guy to turn it around for me finally. Weird bunch.
Harrison, here's where it is with Haas. This is what Haas is doing. He's trying to play it cool. Like, I'm not really, like, I'm fully confident in the 49ers because I better be. Otherwise, they're going to drive me crazy. They're going to drive me crazy. But Haas is the same guy that while he had all-stars playing for him, starting for the Lakers, he put all of his attention on Austin Reeves. Like, listen, don't let Haas, you got to call Haas out when he does that, right? Like he had all-stars, and he's like, no, but Austin, the guy that's sitting at the end of the bench who makes the least amount of money and has the least vital moments on the floor, he's my guy. We all look. Don't let Haas play you. Haas is diabolical, and he'll throw this thing into the soup and then walk away, and then let it get involved.
And other than Jalen Brunson, Austin Reeves' contract is the best contract in the NBA. So we'll see.
I'd say Russ on
only said by Lakers fans. Not said anywhere else in the world except for Lakers fans.
Now, for the quarterbacks, fine. You bring the history. And I was a 49er fan starting in 88. Here, hold up.
Yeah, I know. See, he went through, right?
Boom. This was my guy. This was my guy.
Right?
Okay? In 88. 88, that was my guy. After the commercial break, I have to go and grab the one who started to become the guy in the 90s. And with that, the Niners always have good quarterbacks. And I understand, either you're a Montana guy or Steve Young guy. The problem is, what I don't like is I trust the coach. I trust the system. If the coach thinks Brock Purdy is the guy, what do I know from my house that's going to say he's not? That's my problem. So fine, we can move on from that. Right now, they're even saying their fourth string quarterback is performing better than Sam Darnold and Trey Lance. Because that's who he is, and he's trying to make Brandon Allen into the next Sam Howell. So that's how Shanahan excites himself, and by showing like I can have anyone be my quarterback.
Well, he'll save the organization tens of millions of dollars if it's true. Like I give him credit. Listen, and mind you, if you get to Sam Darnold and Brendan Allen, okay, things have gone horribly wrong anyway. The season's a wash. Like I can distract you with third and 14 quarterbacks and keep you from focusing on the real thing that I'm looking at. I have to determine who receivers 1, 2, and 3 are. Second, I have to decide what my plan of attack is going to be. Am I going to be in every game 100% max out coach, or am I going to be targeting interdivisional games and making sure that I'm healthy for those games so that I can plan and be healthy come playoff time? That's what the distraction is. You're talking about in certain organizations, they legitimately there's 9, 10 maybe organizations that have a legitimate shot of playing in the Super Bowl. And they coach and work accordingly. They coach differently. KC's actions are different than the Cleveland Browns. The Bengals, the Bills, they have a different process. As much as the Cowboys like to think that they're a part of the discussion, they're not. They still got too many hurdles to jump to be in the conversation, right? The 49ers are actually right. The 49ers are in actual contention to be playing in the Super Bowl this season. So they have to work differently than everybody else. They're not doing the same thing that Washington's doing. Baltimore is working from a different place. They have to get it right this year or it all crumbles. So it's 100% all in. Give the 49ers credit for having built up enough in their core to be a part of the legitimate championship conversation. There aren't that many teams who are legitimately working as contenders for the Super Bowl title this year. They're just not that many. The 49ers are in that group, though.
All right, so let's take a step back. So the 49er defensive line is even stronger because they took Hargrove from Philadelphia. So they have 2 interior guys that are very strong with Armstead and Hargrove. They have Bosa, who's arguably the best defensive end, top 2.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
For Parsons might be what people like, but he's technically playing from outside linebacker. Fine, whatever. The front line of the 49ers is very strong. Their middle linebackers, very strong with Warner and Greenlaw. From the outside, they're much more solid than they were 2 years ago. So they have Huff as a safety, who's a top 2 safety. They have Mooney Ward. They have number 38, I forget his name right now. They have enough people in the secondary that it allows their front 7 to go play. So they have that. Then on offense, without the quarterback, they have McCaffrey, they have Mitchell, they have Kittle, they have Ayuk, who they're saying is going to really explode this year. He's got a lot of T.O.-like confidence. They have Deebo Samuel, who I've just mentioned last out of all these people. They have Kyle Juszczyk. Do you want a quarterback who is safe, predictable, who hits his targets, who, and this is, there's no wrong answer, who moves well in the pocket, or do you want the big play quarterback? Do you want the quarterback that could get you a 60-yard bomb, who can get you a 30-yard run? Where would you go?
That's the conversation, and that's a conversation that the Bears went through a year ago, trying to figure out who to draft and what moves to make along with that, and then deciding what to do in year 2 after you recognize that Justin Fields plays a certain type of way. He's legitimately that guy but he plays a certain type of way. And now you have to custom the people around him to fit what it is that he does well, and allowing you as a coach to be successful in your play calls based on that. Every team goes through it, but this is the time of year where you're finding pieces and then you're finding confirmation. That's what happens in the preseason. You're finding for a piece. You're finding look and see. Trey Palmer comes to mind as a big day for Tampa in his preseason game, and then they finally whisper the quiet thing out loud that Trey Palmer may be receiver 1A for Tampa, and nobody in Nebraska is surprised by that. We're surprised what took everybody else so long to do that. But you have to see that ingredient in the soup that you're making. You have to know, does it fit? We don't know. You thought Jimmy Garoppolo would be a certain level of player. You thought Trey Lance would fit in certain types of it's good meat, so it'll fit in any soup. No, they're different cuts of meat, and different things work better in different situations. Everybody's finding that out now. That's the beauty. I mean, listen, we're listening. Harrison and I have to listen to Nebraska folks talk about it, and you go, listen, you better understand what you're competing with. You could be 100% the best McDonald's in the country. That does not entitle you to say that your cut of meat is the same as Omaha Steaks or any national brand or any Nebraska fed steak. It's all different. This next month is for everybody to figure out who you are. It's a rebranding every year. Michigan still has to rebrand. Georgia has to rebrand. Alabama has had to rebrand. So if you don't think you're rebranding at the top, whether it's the NFL or college football, then you're missing the whole point. All the rebranding has to be done now. And you've got an additional 2 weeks, 3 weeks to do it before it becomes real. And this is the beauty of being excited about it. This is why people are fanatical about it, because everybody has a chance to get it right. 99% will get it wrong, but that's okay, because today they have a chance to get it right. That's what all of this is about. I'm excited. It's football season, bro.
You got reasons to be. You're under a new sun. Dan's gone. You're speaking about rebranding. You guys got a lot of that coming ahead, so you got a reason to be smiling. Are the Commanders, have they said anything about that lately? If they're going to actually change the name? I know there's talks about that. I haven't heard anything about it yet, though.
Before you talk about the Commanders, hold on 1 second.
Go for it.
Can we get Omaha Steaks to sponsor the Breeze and then send out weekly steaks here to the DMV?
I literally, we did a golf event this week for the Omaha World Herald, and it was the Big Red Brunch golf scramble. And one of the big sponsors was Omaha Steaks, where literally the local leader who lives on the golf course that we played had his people grilling for all the foursomes. And when they came by his house, they got Omaha Steaks. And we talked about, listen, there's some stuff that we can do. So he and I are actually going to meet this week. He may have bigger, more local fish to fry, but but everything, certainly they're sponsors of my Locked On Huskers podcast. So yeah, it's in play. Everything's in play. All they can say is no.
Mama Tabrizi, she loves her steak.
Amen. Hey, yeah, I think Harrison I root for DC. I could root for my friends and family who love the Washington football organization to be happy and to have success, to watch the happiness of the alumni who I love and adore. I'm not sure that I've bought back in enough to claim the team as mine rather than the city. The city is mine. The name part of it, I wouldn't be surprised if they changed it. It didn't land the way the previous owners thought it would. Yeah. And at some point, the other thing to be careful about is the biggest money. If it's a revenue decision, you're going to go back to a thing and fight the fight, right? Because that's a thing that people will buy into. If you go new, you're going to have to start over again. And remember, you've asked people to buy Redskins gear, football team gear, Commanders gear, and then whatever this is. And I'm not sure that Washington fans are going to be willing to do that. Now they're absolutely okay with going back for whatever reason, wherever you stand on it, whatever it is. But it plays out. It allows people to rebrand and say, are you a money organization? Are you about business? Or are you about winning football? And if the focus is in the name, then you're missing the boat. They're playing in the NFC East against the defending champs, who defending conference champions belong in their division. If you're not focusing on beating Philadelphia and getting better than Philadelphia, you're missing the boat, and it's a missed opportunity.
One team didn't make the playoffs from the NFC East, and that's the Skins football team commies that you just talked about. Yeah. So I think for me, I'd like to see the focus on the play, and then removing a lot of the nonsense that affects play, and a lot of that is the stuff around the organization. I'd like to see the players isolated a bit. Let them focus. It's been a long time since it's happened where the focus has been about winning football games. And here in Nebraska, you understand that sometimes the peripheral stuff gets in the way of production, and you have to make the statement about who you are. Washington, as an organization, has to restate who they are and re-show who they are. The players have to restate who they are. The NFC East is a thing. Like, it's a thing. Look, as much 3 years ago, as much as people wanted to dog it, look, all those teams made the playoffs. They were better than everybody else, and then one of them represented the conference in the Super Bowl. Like, and that's out loud. Say what you will, the NFC East will determine the NFC champion, whoever the 49ers face, if the 49ers get it right. But if they don't, they slip up, you're going to have to, at some point, you may have to beat one or two NFC East teams just to represent the NFC. If the Niners put McCaffrey at quarterback, because they decided, instead of a fifth-string quarterback, they decided to put Brock Purdy back into the game when it was clearly evident that he couldn't throw the ball, just to hand the ball off. Like, they should have at least put McCaffrey at quarterback and gave the Niners a chance. Anyway, what's a successful season for the Bears? What's a successful season for the Commanders? We could talk about it before the break or after the break. Up to you, Harrison.
Harrison, go ahead and load the table, baby.
Successful season for the Bears. Tell you what, I think we're at a perfect spot for a break right there. I think that's a perfect segue. I got my answer saved up already. I've been thinking about this for far too long. We have Jeff Essink for Fitness Fanatics. He's a Bears fan as well. He's on before your show, but we've been getting maybe a little too much Kool-Aid, but I'm excited. We'll have those answers up next, expectations, and I want to hear yours for the 49ers and what you consider a successful season as well. So we'll get that all next on The Breeze. Again, I'm Harrison. That's Haas DP, the host, as always, streaming in. We'll catch you guys on the other side of the break.
This is Brad with Midwest Bank, proudly serving our Nebraska communities for over 70 years. We're a community bank, making local decisions, supporting local organizations, and helping local businesses and farms succeed. We are dedicated to serving our clients and helping them meet their financial needs with sound, innovative banking solutions. From an array of checking and deposit accounts, cash management services, to small business, real estate, and ag lending. We're here for you, your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Find out more at midwestbank.com. Member FDIC.
Day by Day is the new documentary about Tom Osborne and the Nebraska Cornhuskers' decades-long pursuit of a national championship. Featuring interviews with former players and coaches, as well as famous fans like Peyton and Archie Manning, Larry the Cable Guy, and numerous NCAA and NFL legends. Day by Day is the riveting, untold story of one of the most dominant, celebrated, and controversial football teams ever. Opening in theaters on August 11th, visit daybydaymovie.com for details.
Our lives only have so much time, but if you smoke, you have less. Your life could be 10 years shorter, and the time you do have is often filled with health problems, shortness of breath, asthma, COPD, and cancer. But the minute you quit, your body starts healing,
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is Bud Seinhorst, President and CEO of LIBA, the Lincoln Independent Business Association. Join us every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket for the LIBA Business Hour, as we discuss local business and highlight those who are thriving in the Lincoln area. It's the LIBA Business Hour, Saturdays from 9 to 10 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
This is how we do every day. We be grinding, and if you want to come and take them.
If you love them enough to turn on your music and pretend like their music is your music,
This is Mommy's jam.
then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Let's play it again.
Check today at NHTSA.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Back to School Night is an important event. Plan to attend and help your child prepare for success. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Let's get our students off to a great start. Make Back to School Night a priority. You'll meet your child's education team, learn about volunteer opportunities, and what you can expect in the school year ahead. Help us make a bright new beginning for our students this year.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
Gilbert could be at every down tight end. He looks the part. I mean, I had a chance to talk to him. He has, to me, transformed himself again in the offseason. I want to see him blocking and play action stuff.
Well, maybe if you do put him in the slot, you throw a quick hitch to him and, let the big guy rumble.
But I think Fedoni is just as dangerous. I think you put those two guys together, that's a dangerous tight end room. I like them together more than I like them apart.
This is where it happens. Long hikes with friends, kayaking adventures with family, more horseback riding, zip line gliding, rock face climbing, hammock camping fun than you could ever imagine. And it's all outdoors, amongst the trees and across the prairie, here beneath Nebraska skies. Plan an outing today at yournebraskaadventure.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Breeze with DP and Haas on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into The Breeze. I am Harrison, pushing the ones and twos. We got the host, as always, Haas and DP, streaming in with us today. And again, if you guys want to join the show, Sarger Heyman text line 402-464-5685. Streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Allo Channel 951. Great way to put a face to the voice. But before we went to break, Haas asked what our expectations were. He asked me for the Bears, DP for the Commanders, and I asked Haas for his 49ers on what we would consider a successful winning season. And again, if you guys are listening out there, go ahead and put your NFL team in there and list their win and loss, what you consider a successful season. But looking at the Bears, for me, I look at the division, the NFC North right now in particular, it's weaker than it's been in the past. That's easily fair to say with Rodgers being out of there. The Lions, everyone's kind of waiting for them to have that uptick year. Nick Sainert been screaming it all day long at the ticket for a while now. I still haven't seen it happen. And then the Vikings, of course, are you thinking it was a little bit of a fluke year with Cousins up in Minnesota, or if it's going to be back? The way I see it, though, shaking out, I think the Bears are actually going to be holding up possibly second in the division by the end of it. I think they go 9-8. I think a successful season for the Bears is you get on the winning side of things. You get over 500. You got the talent now. Fields, you gave him, a few years of development. He's got an offense around him. if this thing's really going to start shaking out, I think a successful season for the Bears is you got to have a winning record. So I'm saying a 9-8, 3-14 last year. But if all these pieces are clicking like we're talking, it's got to start happening. You got to start winning games. You can't go through another year where you're saying it's time and development. Like the Bears have just been on the losing end forever. You have the talent, start winning. 9-8.
It's a good answer. I like that. A lot of people just would go with very high expectations and unrealistic expectations. ZP, what about Washington?
Well, I'm a member of that club that drives you crazy. But you know me well enough. You know me well enough to know that I'm not trying to be basic. I'm not trying to be basic, live basic, accomplish basic. That's not how it works. And in a day and age where we know that the NFC East turns over on an annual basis, and to remember that Washington's success against Philadelphia was profound. It's end of season success against the Cowboys. That's loud. Not settling for anything else. It's the NFC East. And I'm an old DC fan, so win the dang thing, and let everybody else step up and figure out what you did to do it. Like that's why. Listen, you have the best offense coordinator in football. That's not an excuse anymore. You got to change the standard. That's there. You've got.
Hold up. Pause right there. Did you guys see the story that some of the players were like, This is too intense. The coach is being too intense. Bieniemy is too intense. Grown men.
Hoss, does that sound like anybody on this panel to you?
Does that sound like anybody? You and me both.
Right. Like I understand that if you're going to change the standard, you have to change the standard. You cannot accept what was once acceptable if you have expectations of anything greater than that. So you have to change it, and you have to rattle the cage. Listen, chickens, time to grow up, man. Time to grow up, be big boys in the big boy football conference. Like that's what it is.
Coach yelled at me. The coach
yelled at me. This is what it is. So, listen, you have a young quarterback that hasn't been tainted yet, right? So you haven't seen anything. He had the kind of success that you want in the biggest game of the year. He did a thing that in Washington matters. Paramount to beating Iowa and Nebraska, which is beating the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, look, you beat a playoff team in your first start. I'll get on board with that. And the defense, look, you got healthier, you got stronger, you got better, you drafted well. So, listen, win the NFC East, and then I'll find everything else after that successful. Pretty simple. Hoss, what about you?
There's only one answer for the 49ers. One word.
Yeah. And it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to do that. That's perfectly fine. So I'm all with that.
There's 4 teams that are that way.
And like I said, not everybody is working and playing for an actual Super Bowl candidacy, like a legitimate opportunity to win it. There aren't that many teams, and so that being said, for the group that's in that space, some standards have to change. But for everybody else, look, get in the game. Like people are paying to be a part of what you're doing. Spend some money and get to work and go be great. Like you're not asking, like it's those seasons for 49ers and Baltimore and Buffalo and Cincinnati. It's time to step up and show out. Otherwise, some additional seismic changes have to be made after this year if you don't get it done.
I'm going to fire out some team names. I'm going to put you guys on a hot seat, and there'll be one college team in there too. And with it, you're not the actual fan base. So, for example, I'm going to say the Bengals, the Bills, the Eagles, the Niners. What is the expectation for those teams? Because you're going to hear all Bills fans. Bills fans actually would say we're never going to win a Super Bowl just because of the 4 Super Bowls in a row. But Bengals fans expect to win the Super Bowl this year. Baltimore fans expect to win the Super Bowl this year. And I really think there's 3 teams. But I'm going to name some names, and I want to see rapid fire. What's the expectation? So to make it easy, Kansas City Chiefs.
Super Bowl.
Win it.
Yep, Super Bowl. If you don't win it, then you had a bad year. Eagles.
Win it.
Super Bowl.
Okay. Cowboys.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, it has to be Super Bowl, but I yeah, I mean their goal inside it has to be Super Bowl.
So that's what their goal is all the time. They need to actually make an NFC Championship game.
Yeah, Dak has a pressure year. Dak has a pressure year. Jerry has a pressure year. The coaching staff has a pressure year. You made a decision to get rid of Zeke. You made some decisions at receiver, and you reinvested in Dak. Guess what? This is the year. If they don't win it, changes have to be made.
So even if they make it to the NFC Championship,
doesn't matter.
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
Got to move pieces around. I'm the same way. Even if they make it to the NFC Championship.
If I'm a Cowboys fan and I actually beat the 49ers because they haven't been able to do that in a long time, then that's somewhat of a win in itself. Okay.
No, because they could beat the 49ers and lose to Washington or Philly, and it's the same thing. You got to beat everybody.
The Jets.
Division.
Yeah. I remember right there too. Win the division with Rodgers. You got a good enough defense there. You're looking at Sauce Gardner, one of the superstar corners in the league. You got some real talent, but win the division first. You haven't been anybody. Kind of like the Matt Rule. Let's get the respect first before we go win a Super Bowl.
If they don't get to the AFC Championship, I think it's a very disappointing season for them.
I don't think so because I don't think they have that. I mean, you have to climb 3 teams to do it. Win the division. They're the same as Washington. Win the division.
But they have one of the most elite quarterbacks in football.
Doesn't matter. You're the New York Football Jets. Relevancy matters.
The Jets are like the Clippers and the Browns. They always find a way to fumble it away.
Yeah. Doesn't matter.
With that said, they were a hot team when Breece Hall was playing last year. They were a really strong team. Their defense was so good. They just had the worst quarterback of all time at quarterback last year.
Doesn't matter. They're facing the GOAT and Belichick and the Pats. They're facing a Dolphins team that believes it's a Super Bowl team, and it's facing the Bills, who are not only elite talent-wise and recent success-wise, but there are people that would say that they would be the favorites to win the championship this year. So, look, if you're the Jets, right now to start the season, are you going to put the Jets above Belichick and the Pats? No, I'm not betting on Rodgers more than I bet on Belichick. Look, I'm not concussed, bro. No, look, Rodgers has to show. He has to show. It's the Jets, man. It's the Jets.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about the Patriots and the GOAT.
I do believe in that. I do believe that franchises just ruin you. I believe in that. That's fine.
Okay. All right.
Fine.
Yeah.
Ravens.
Win it. Gotta win it.
Well, I missed the name. What'd you say?
Ravens.
Yeah, I'd say that's Super Bowl.
Gotta win it. Otherwise, you change Lamar Jackson. Yeah, you gotta win it.
Didn't they just pay him?
Seismic changes, man. You can make a move after the fact. Seismic changes. If you don't get it done this year, got to get it done.
I believe getting back to the AFC Championship for them is still a win. So,
no.
Okay. San Diego / LA Chargers.
Championship game. Win the division.
AFC or Super Bowl?
Win the division. I like that.
Yeah,
win the division.
That's
beating the Super Bowl champion. That's what that means. That's beating the Super Bowl champion.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go with the Steelers because they have a wrong-lensed fan base.
Make the playoffs. Make the playoffs.
Yeah. Did you say that too, Harrison? To me, it's make the playoffs.
I said over 500 to be funny with Mike Tomlin, but yeah, playoffs would be a good goal for them. See what Pickett looks like. I'm excited to see if it all works out. I think for him, a win for that is just a strong development. You're leaving the season saying Pickett's going to be better in the next year. As long as you see him,
that is learning how to throw without a glove.
Yeah, I don't know. That one's always been a little strange to me, putting on the fingerless gloves on the sideline.
All right, you guys give me one that we haven't done.
Miami. I was waiting for that one.
Win the division.
Really? You're going Miami win the division?
They got to win the division.
With if they have a bad year, is that calling for seismic shifts? I guess with Tua, he's got such a Tua. You're just scared about the health. Well,
If they don't win the division, Tua's done.
You think so? Tua's out of there.
Well, here's my question for both of you: who wins the NFC South? Because it's the most untalked about, disrespected division. It's the division that nobody talks about. I mean, you've got the Saints with a new quarterback, the Falcons with a new quarterback, the Bucks. Who knows what that's going to be? We really have no idea. And the Carolina Panthers. So who wins the South? Who wins the South? No. I think they got their quarterback. No. I'm a full on. My pick would be the Carolina Panthers because of Bryce Young.
No, all four teams have a new quarterback, is what I was trying to say.
Yeah, but of those four, the guy that I want to ride with long term this year and long term is Bryce Young. That for me is that's pretty seismic. I'm good with Bryce Young being the guy who changes the way they finished last year. They finished with some style and some substance. They were missing that dude at quarterback. You now have them. Defensively, they have bodies. They accumulated a lot of talent. Derek Carr is off to a good start with the Saints. Who you got?
I got Saints.
Carolina. You said Saints?
Yeah, I'm going Saints. You look at the Saints schedule too. You guys could just name some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and they don't play any of them really. Like you're talking about the quarterback matchup wise, not only out of all those quarterbacks, I think Saints are the best set up. Look at their schedule. They're not going to be playing against other elite quarterbacks. They're going to be playing against a bunch of teams that are also finding their identity. Like if you're just looking at strength of schedule, I know it's preseason. We'll see that obviously strength of schedule moves around once games start happening. But yeah, right now to me it's Saints.
Hoss, before you go, I want to say this for the Sarderham and text line. Little did I know, and little did I expect that the Breeze would be a Green Bay Packers fan show, because we have 4 Green Bay Packers fans on the text line. So little did we know that listen, the Tourist BIB, I didn't know Bubba, Nyla. I didn't know that Packers Nation was rolling like that on the Breeze, but
Relax.
Hey man, good to know. Good to have y'all out here, man. Appreciate that. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, credit to Jordan Love for going for 76 yards on 7 for 10 passing. Nice little dink and dunk offense they got over there in Green Bay right now. I'll give him that much.
So wait. From a Bears fan, he's going to criticize a dink and dunk offense? You better stop that, Harrison. Don't be disrespectful. Listen, at least they have a dink and dunk, man.
Hey, they got a dink and dunk. We got a dink and run. 3 passes for
I was gonna say, yeah, my goodness gracious, pot meet the kettle. It was what was happening here.
I'm gonna be vocal this season. This is gonna be a good season for Bears fans. We're gonna finish in the division, and we're gonna look down at the Cheeseheads. It's gonna be that year for the Bears. That's what I'm saying. You get to over 500, you're gonna be ahead of the Packers in the division, and that's a win for the Bears.
Harrison, cut that clip of you saying that, and then we're just going to share that all year round. All year long, it's just Harrison. Oh, man, that's so good.
Where do the Packers need to be for that to not be a disappointing season?
Jordan Love has to finish the season. He has to finish the season healthy and as the starter. That, to me, is the real core. I think it is a Bears plus situation, and what they did for Justin Fields and finding out could he make plays and then stay in the game, stay on the field. And that if Jordan Love announces himself as the guy who makes it through the season, has enough success to keep the job and stays healthy enough to stay out there, Packers fans have to feel a whole lot better about going forward, because then you only have to piecemeal the rest of it. Like the rest of it's doable in that division.
They could go 4-13, but he could have 4,500 yards, 35 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, meaning successful even though he lost.
Mm-hmm.
And that's still a winning season because they have the heir apparent.
Yep. Most
What about you,
important.
Harrison? Trying to be unbiased.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly kind of right there with the Packers. I think this is the closest you've ever been to a rebuild. It's going to be interesting. I still think they got to figure out the wide receivers. I'll be honest. I think that's why it's probably going to be tough on Love early on. You look at Rodgers. I know Lazard's not there anymore, but there's so many times where it was just irritable. You can tell he's irritated out there. He wants to throw it to the outside shoulder. You know, whoever's out there, say Lazard, he's just getting bullied to the out of bounds completely. It's not even there to throw it to him. If they can find some receivers, if Love stays healthy and they actually get some connection, I think that's a win for the Packers. So honestly, wins and losses isn't that big of a deal for them at this point. I think you just want to see progression, and hopefully you see a wide receiver core come together, because that was Rodgers' biggest problem. If that doesn't get fixed, I mean, you're betting on Love to be as good as Rodgers, and if that's the case, that still wasn't working last year. So fixed wide receiver core, healthy Love, that's a winning season.
So Sutter, Heyman text line, tell me about the Packers defense, because it's fluctuated the last couple of years. Rodgers covered a lot of things. I think the team is surrounded by two guys, and NFL owners don't really value what I'm about to say, but it's Dillon and Jones. And so if they have a good defense, can they run the ball 40 times a game and be that kind of team, be an NFC North team and play the cold 1980s, 1970s type game and change their style? Do they have a good enough defense to do that? So tell us after the break when we come back.
Absolutely. This is The Breeze. I'm Harrison Haas, DP. We'll catch you guys on the other side of the break.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
I'm Chris Jackamick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is "My job is people, everyone is my business." But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jackamick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
I wanted to quit for so long, but I didn't know where to start.
I was afraid of what people would think, but then I found the right support to start my recovery journey. 1 in 14 Americans reports experiencing a substance use disorder, a treatable medical condition. Treatment can take many forms, so there are a variety of options to explore and find the one that works best for you. Recovery from drug addiction is possible.
Paid for by the CDC, sponsored by Nebraska DHHS, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Serve Nebraska believes that volunteers are part of what makes Nebraska great. Each year, the Step Forward Awards honors volunteers from across the state who serve their communities in outstanding ways. We hope you'll join us this year at the Step Forward Awards luncheon on October 27th in Omaha. Help us thank volunteers with a celebration to remember. To register, visit serve.nebraska.gov and click Register Now. We hope to see you there. Paid for by Serve Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Warning, this ad will use the F word often, so listen at your own risk. Family fun, fun with friends, freedom from fuel, free Yeti cooler, free driveway delivery. Hey, this is Carl from Nebraska Golf Carts and Priced Right Auto, and we have the all-electric Bentelli Fun Carts, and they are a blast. Plenty of fun colors, and these street-legal carts come in both 4 and 6 passenger. Tell us you heard us on the ticket and get a free Yeti cooler with your purchase. Hurry, supply is limited. Check them out at 1235 West O in Lincoln or NebraskaGolfCarts.com.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it. Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Lane's Cover Crop is your one-stop feed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
You're listening to The Breeze with DP and Haas on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into The Breeze. I am Harrison pushing the ones and twos. We got the host, as always, DP and Haas, streaming in today. And again, you can join us on the Sartor Heyman text line at 402-464-5685, as well as Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo channel 951 for all those who want to put a face to the voice. But Haas, I'll throw it to you. You engaged in a question right before we got off the break, but I'll go ahead, let you say one more time for all those who missed it right before we went to break.
Yeah, since you said the Packers fans are taking over, just wanted to see what they think on their defense, since fan bases always have a solid understanding of what's going on. To me, the pass rush was really good and solid and allowed them the opportunity to get Rodgers the ball more. How different is it this year? So that's one thing I want to know. But while we wait for answers on that, what about the Lions? What's a good year for the Lions?
Winning the division.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. The Vikings, to me, are going to be the most curious team in this NFC North. See if the Vikings do it again and truly assert themselves as like, hey, last year, there's nothing fluky about that. Kirk Cousins is the guy. Justin Jefferson is arguably the best wide receiver in the league. They still got Hockenson, the tight end, so they can run it back. And I think if they can assert themselves as that dominant team, but right now, I think people still got question marks by the Vikings, despite last season. So if you're the Lions, yeah, you're thinking about let's win this division and try to take it over.
Yeah, I mean, right now for the Vikings, no one's talking about them just because they got rid of Thielen. They got rid of their running back with Cook. I know they drafted a running back, but with this subtraction, maybe they're looking forward, trying to save the money. And it's kind of hard because everyone's always so neutral on vanilla ice cream at quarterback. But he's getting the job done. Like, if San Francisco had Kirk Cousins at quarterback, they would have won 2 Super Bowls by now. So vanilla is okay if you have the things around it.
Well, 78% of the country loves vanilla ice cream. So there's a level of success to it. There's a purpose to it. Madness. Listen, to me, Kirk Cousins is not the issue with the Vikings. You have other issues. You have other issues. Like it. I'm beginning to admire him more for his ability and want to accept the pressure and the blame. When the reality is they got other issues, and he's being a leader and saying it's on me. We'll get better when I get better. The reality is everybody around him needs to get better too, and they need to help him get the right pieces in place. Look, NFL football is not easy. Kirk Cousins is successful at a high level and an almost elite level. So Kirk Cousins is not the problem. Most teams in the NFL would do well if Kirk Cousins was their quarterback.
I have them winning the division preseason. Where are you guys sitting with the Vikings?
Yeah, I mean, I'm leaning towards the Vikings. I don't know what the Dalvin Cook thing does for them. Detroit has balance, but I would say this, and Haas, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but if Kirk Cousins was the 49ers quarterback, they'd be Super Bowl favorites.
Yeah, 100%. He's what?
Right? Yeah.
He's accurate. He's got the experience. And Super Bowls aren't played on Monday night, right?
No, they are not. Not yet, anyway.
Then the Niners would be fine. All right. Yeah. There was one more team that isn't getting talked about that made the playoffs? Seahawks.
I don't know what to do with them the same way I don't know what to do with the Vikings. I don't know where to put them or where to place them. They have all the talent in the world. They've got runners. They've got their line play has to step up just a notch on both sides of the ball. You got defenders. You brought back the captain, Bobby Wagner's back. That immediately wins you a game that you wouldn't have won a year ago. The division is winnable in that space. That you got to play with the Niners, and you don't know what the Niners are going to do. They're the second best team in that division, and they may also be in the top 5 in the NFC. I don't know what success looks like for them because I'm not sure of what their personality is going to be for this year. There's a rebranding happening in Seattle. We need to find out what that is.
I'm pretty high. I like Geno Smith a lot. Everything that keeps coming out about Geno Smith too is he was locked in last season. It's kind of the same thing with Kirk Cousins. Everyone waiting for that fluke, kind of waiting for it to come to an end. Never did. Pete Carroll is definitely a great head coach. I think after Russell Wilson left, it felt like we'll see what Carroll looks like without him. Geno Smith stepped in and they looked almost better, with Wilson down over in Denver. So I think they got to win the division. I think you got to challenge the 49ers. I think that's your job at this point. Like, you look at the Cardinals and the Rams, you feel like you got an edge on those guys after last season. Yeah, you go win the division. I think if you're the Seahawks, there's no reason not to expect that. If you get another consistent year from Geno Smith, yeah, it's definitely doable. I think they're in that rebrand, but I think the brand is coming together so much faster than even Seahawks fans could have anticipated with their biased reality. Like this thing's coming together pretty fast. I don't think any expected Geno Smith to plug in and fit Pete Carroll's offense so well. But I think they're going to be off and running a lot faster than people realize. Win the division for the Seahawks.
Pete can coach, bro. Pete can coach.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to this. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. Right? Transfer this. Think about this. On purpose, I wanted to keep the Bloodline story to next week. I want to see this week's programming to see what happens. Like, there's so many. Let it marinate. The story will tell itself, but I wanted to wait a week before we got into the whole Jimmy J and the Bloodline. Lots going on behind it, so let's let it play out.
As we sign off, it was pretty cool. I sent you a text during Raw. My daughter called out at 9 o'clock that, hey, that Japanese guy, he had a little look on his face, like that he looks sneaky. He's going to do something bad. And as Raw gets off of the air, him kicking Seth Rollins in the head, even though they just won and they're teammates. Finally, they're going to let Shin do something. Like, finally, they're going to give him some attention. He needed a change. We were talking about it at WrestleMania, so I'm excited for that. So talk about that next week. Talk about Jay going to AEW potentially. No, that's not happening. Talk about Jay and what's going to happen at Payback.
Absolutely. We got about 8 seconds here, Haas, so I got to cut you off here. But again, all that next Sunday, same time, 12 to 1 p.m. Great show as always. TicketFM.com. Catch you guys next Sunday.